A while back, I actually covered a Convoke deck that ran a bunch of defenders and ran the Knight Errant of Eos. That was when this card just came out, and we had Meeting of the Minds in the deck and stuff like that. And the deck was like pretty decent in a very short time period, and then quickly like kind of phased out of the metagame. It was like a very temporary, kind of very good deck. And now it's back, and it's probably a lot better now that we have Virtue of Loyalty. And I mean, I've played the deck a little bit here, and I don't love this kind of deck, mostly because the list that I took, the foundation for this deck, didn't really feel that good. It had zero removal spells in the main deck, so when your opponent resolves something, well, you're sometimes screwed, depending on what it is. Like Shield Red, for example, sometimes can take over. But yeah, essentially, if you look at this deck, there's some early game, there's some life gain with the Lunarch Veteran, and you have a flip side as well when it dies. I added a Lantern Bearer because I wanted more blue Convoke for the Meeting of the Minds. Now, keep in mind, this is not a Convoke deck anymore. I cut the Knight Errants from the main deck. This is like a blue-white, tempo-y, go wide deck. I don't know how to describe this. I have no idea what this is, honestly. It's a pile. It's a pile of blue-white cards, and it is pretty good. I think the final version of this deck, like the fully optimized version of this list, is actually really good. But getting there is the tough part because this deck is an archetype, or this archetype in general is a deck that is. Whoa, I'm getting lost here. It's an archetype that doesn't sideboard very well because it needs all of its parts to work together to make the deck powerful. So yeah, you got the one drops. You got this new card right here that's actually fantastic in this deck. Ingenious Prodigy. Oh, I'm having a hard time pronouncing stuff today. Okay, so X blue, it's an 0/1, comes in with X +1/+1 counters on it. It has Skulk, so it can't be blocked with powers with creatures with greater power. Jeez. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it has one or more +1/+1 counters, you can remove one and draw a card. So that's really good. If you combine it with Virtue of Loyalty, that you all probably know by now, flash 2/2, and then you get +1/+1 at your end step. This card is bonkers and pretty much holds the deck together by itself. It's your main win con. It's the main way you will be able to take over the game in the mid game, and it's just a fantastic card all around, as it also makes a creature, so best of both worlds. And it has an incredible synergy with this card. Then we have the reinforcements that make 2/1/1s. Then you have the Make Disappear as your counterspell, and the Protecting the Negotiators as your like actual main counterspell. This thing will pretty much hard counter everything since it scales off the amount of creatures you control, and they'll pay more and more depending on how much you've got. And it also makes a 1/1 if you kick it for white. I added a Fairy Mastermind because I felt like this deck wanted more flash things. I didn't really feel like tapping out much as well, and I feel like flyers are really important because you need to close out the game somehow, and usually you're not going to be able to do that on the ground. So that's why I wanted a few flyers that will scale up with this and Wedding Announcement so I can deal that last bit of damage. Another card I added because this deck had zero removal spells in the main deck, and I felt like that was like a really big weakness of the deck, where if you don't draw your counter magic, you're just screwed because your tempo is slower than your opponent's, because these creatures don't do anything like on their own. They're just creatures that enable your other spells that eventually will grow and become threats. But really, early game, you're not doing anything. So you're just trying to counter stuff. And here I'm actually removing stuff as well with Brutal Qatar, even though it's temporary, quote unquote. But it's also a creature in case your opponent is not playing that many creatures or is playing tokens. And obviously, Wedding Announcement, Meeting of Minds, Virtue of Loyalty, 2 Murex, and good mana base. I think there's 23 lands. I started with 24. I did not like it because this deck floods a lot. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, the sideboard is trying to round out the removal spells with the Elspeth Smite, the Lantern Flares, a bunch of Destroy Evils now because I added a lot of removal essentially. As yeah, you'll probably guess that this deck really needs it, honestly. And white is not a great color for removal spells. That's kind of the tricky thing about this deck, is that you really have good counter magic and you have good ways of enabling them, and you have good flash creatures. Like this is a fantastic card, and you have good white threats in the mid game, Wedding Announcement Loyalty, but you're seriously lacking in removal efficiency. So that's like the tricky part that you have to kind of figure out. Destroy Evils for Shield Red and enchantments like other Wedding Announcements. The Elspeth Smite, obviously. The Denix for like stabilizing early game against aggro and in other matchups where they interact with the graveyard. The other counter spell, Make Disappear, another counter spell on Stroke. So you have 7, no, you have 9 counter spells total. Tokasa's Welcome for the extra card draw, and the 2 Knight Errants for when you board in Dennick. you have enough creatures to justify boarding in a bunch of well, 2 knights here. That's the only there were 4 I think total in the original deck list, but I ended up cutting because you have very low odds of actually hitting 2 with this thing. So I was not too happy about that, so I figured it was not worth. It seems like a risky card to play in a deck with such low creature counts. um well, you do have Wedding Announcement, but you know, this doesn't always stick, so it's kind of high risk, high reward, really high snowballing potential, but also like very high brick potential as well. I don't know, not worth the risk in my opinion. Deck works perfectly fine just playing around Virtue and Wedding. So yeah, I really can't explain much more about this deck. You're just gonna have to see it in action. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. Is it make 2 unblockable 1/1s? Trample? Okay, no, it's useless. Alright, forget it. It's unplayable. Finally drawing this card. Like, I literally flooded so hard. Let's see if this does anything. It's probably really good, because this is pivotal to the deck functioning, right? Because you need the Convoke for blue, too. This deck needs another blue creature. Like, another really good... Wait, why is this deck not playing Fairy Mastermind? What the... Oh, this does not look great. Yeah, no flash, no Fairy Mastermind for, like, card draw engine activation. That sounds good, actually. And it's a flyer, and it has flash, and it gets bigger with Virtue of Loyalty, so then you just hit them in the face. I kind of have to counter that. I don't want to counter that, but... Like, this deck has to counter every single spell your opponent plays ever. Unless I had this in hand, which I didn't. Well, even then, I probably would still counter that. Alright, surely they don't have a sweeper main deck. Cruelty of Gix, not happening. I mean, hopefully this is the lead deck list. It doesn't have many ways of dealing with this. In the main deck. Wait, I'm actually flooding on 23. Well, this is crazy. This deck is crazy. Maybe all control decks should have 23 lands. I don't know. Oh, God. Well, at least I have a Cathar. Like, worst case, it's a 2/2. Not even bad. Not even bad. I should have bounced it, honestly. That was a mistake. Oh, wait, no. Well, I would have to untap, bounce it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe... I don't know. That's probably correct. To bounce it. Now I can't counter removal, but I don't know. It's probably the same thing. It's more mana efficient. Oh, sure. Actually, it was correct because that duress. But they did it wrong order anyways. I don't know why they didn't do it the other way. I mean, there's almost nothing sorcery that I would want other than Wedding Announcement. I guess creatures. I'm just gonna hardcast this. Didn't need to bounce, I had to flip. True, but also like I'm gonna flip anyway. I mean, no, I guess I'm not gonna flip. You're right. Yep, that was a misplay. Yeah, I didn't consider the flip. Whatever. It's fine. What do you do when Glissa resolves? I feel like this deck is like, what do you do when X card resolves? Not much. Where'd my cards go? Oh. I hate. I'm not playing. Like I can't play this deck. It's for me. It's like unplayable. I hate sideboarding with this kind of deck. It just feels like you cannot cut anything, and I hate that. Honestly, it was probably just cut. I think artistic refusal is always a cut. I get to resolve Glizzy here and just dead, right? Well, I'm also kind of dead against that. No, I'm not actually. I can just slam.
And I don't appreciate it when people touch my things. You won't be outsmarting me.
I almost want to discard this, but oh, what the?
You chose the wrong day to cross me.
Like, what do I do against resolved creature planeswalker?
Drop it.
I guess this can go through, kind of. Oh, now they have to discard their card. Okay, this actually matters. So if they plus, they lose a lot here, I think. And I just lose this. Ooh, okay. One removal spell. They don't lose that much. Right? Well, they lost their entire board and their hand, but I mean, this card doesn't really matter.
Fine. I'll take my zombies and leave.
Maybe it was slam this, but then I lose to sweeper, so probably not correct. Looks like it just wins versus resolve creature planeswalker. Well, I mean, their plays were kind of not good though. I don't know. I mean, it depends what creature it is, I guess. And I have to find removal still. I don't know. It's probably not that bad. Uh-oh. Well, I guess we'll find out if this matchup's actually bad or not. How many Terra Sunders do you have main deck? The answer is not in hand, at least. 0 in hand. Oh, GG. Okay, I have 2 Cathars. Hold up. It's not over. I have 2 removal spells in my entire deck. And I can almost, like, block that if I have, like, 4, I mean, 2 more blockers. But then if they have removal spells, it's doomed. And they're gonna become 2/2s. Oh, GG. That's, like, trifecta. Exodia is on the board right now. I mean, I have to hit it now or I'm just dead. I guess we're just dead. No Wandering Emperor, no... so bad. Oh, that's good, actually. Okay. I mean, it's not... That's not, like, great for me, but it's not terrible. We're actually in it. Am I genius or am I genius? Maybe saved? Imagine playing a deck with 0 removal spells against Shield Red meta, plus, like, people playing green-black with Glissa, plus people playing Rafine, plus people playing Skrell. Like, what do you even do? Oh, I lost again. Okay. Oh. Okay, it's not over. It's not over. It's not over. Believe. Sure. That Cathar was big. The tempo advantage of this not attacking one turn, and also getting a removal spell out. I think it's time for this to go. I need the flyer. No. We got tear? I don't think so. In main deck, it's okay. Again, like, just because Virtue's broken. Actually, it's not really okay, because this could have beat me just straight up by attacking over and over. I have to perma block it, and I will run out eventually. But shield is not like a huge problem, I guess. I don't know, flare is risky, because if I get swept, it's just worthless. I think it's just what I did before. But why do I have another... Okay, I forgot this deck can't sideboard. Oh, yeah. So, like, I don't know. Like, you can't bring in anything, basically. This card sucks. Like, it only kills children. I don't want to play sorcery speed enchantments unless they're really good. I don't know, I'm gonna try this. I think if I had more masterminds, I would play them in this matchup, because if you catch them drawing with a knight, that's massive. Our controlling start. Like, I fail to see how playing Convoke is just better than playing the same shell, but actually being, like, playing good cards, like Rafine and Shield Red, and actual removal spells. Like, what are you really getting from Convoke here? Draw 2 for 1? Sure. What else? Literally nothing. Like, why not play the same thing, but no Convoke? And Rafine. What's Pippin? I mean, the mana base is better, obviously. I don't know. I don't know if that's justified. Maybe. I mean, what do I do if I don't play this now? Like, Pippin, Guard of the Citadel? I don't, like, I don't know what that is. I don't know. I don't recognize that. Okay, I actually have the answer for that. That's fine. Wait, I don't need to protect the negotiators, do I? I don't know. I mean, obviously I don't recognize that if that's from Lord of the Rings. Freaking bugs. No? I don't even know if that's a bug or like a random dust particle. Could be either. Come on. No. Whatever, I kind of want the creature. I don't need the card here. Okay, now I'm in a good spot. Like, you need removal spells for things that resolve, but once you have those, having Giga counter spells is enough to win the game, I think. And I have Giga counter magic right now. I do not want to give them a card here, if possible. How much do I value the creature over potentially an extra card? I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. I think it's always 2. Yeah, it's always it's wrong. It's wrong. I was just thinking like if this dies, maybe I'd need the 3rd card, but I don't think it's ever relevant. Also keeps it out of cut down range, which may or may not be valuable. Okay. Now, see, that's why I wanted the extra counter, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it worked out, but probably still wrong. But they used it on wedding. It was really wrong. There's no. I don't have a justification for that. Wait, I didn't have that. Uh-oh. Okay, now I see why there's 23 lands in this deck. What? Alright, I giga lose to Gix's command, but whatever. Was there a way for me to play on Gix's command? Like, let this resolve, maybe? I was expecting to draw at least 1 counter spell from those 4 cards, but... Wait, how many counters did I see? 3? I'm 20 cards deep. I guess I already drew them, so... It's probably not counter shield run. Probably. But also, when I countered Shieldred, I still had Wedding Announcement. Yeah, that's true. They didn't do Tear first, right? So in my head, I was like, okay, it was probably autopilot counter Shieldred because I get out of range anyways. I don't know. I don't remember what I was thinking at the time. I just follow autopilot. That lethal. Three blockers, so 6, no, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. If I don't draw there. Actually, there's no... Is there a reason not to draw? I don't know. Maybe. If you enjoy my content and would like to help me keep making it, consider supporting me over on Patreon, where you're going to access to a bunch of bonus videos, as well as other rewards depending on the tiers. And thank you so much to all the lovely patrons that are already subscribed. I appreciate it very much. And I will see you all in the next video.